Then, people realized they needed more than their own hair and skin to protect them from unfriendly weathers and to cover their nakedness. They scouted around to see what was available. Those who lived in cold climates and saw animals with skins that kept them warm hunted these animals for food and used the fur of the slain to cover their bodies. Ancient people used grasses, reeds, leaves, and stems, purely of the vegetable origin, to cover their bodies. Research has shown that fig leaves were used to cover human nakedness. Later, he also learned to spin the fiber, convert it to yarn, and these yarns are interlaced to form cloth. Flax and wool were the first of the fiber to be used because they were easier to twist into yarn than cotton. They also used the hair of animals as beds. In due course, these hair tangled with each other and formed fabric. After thousands of years of wandering, people learned that they can live in one place with other humans and grow what they needed. People learned how to raise certain animals for the meat and use the skins for clothing. They learned to grow certain plants for food. People no longer had to spend all their time hunting and farming. When population began to explode, more people needed to be clothed. Majority of the earlier clothing were manually sewn with thread and needle, and few people were engaged in the art, as most human beings then were farmers. The need to learn the art of sewing brought about quest for knowledge, new knowledge of sewing, hence the emergence of informal training called apprenticeship. Late Tiamiyu Ayinde Taiwo learned and became a master tailor and trained many apprentices, one of whom was the young Wasiu, who learned sewing native dresses from his dad and later trained at the London School of Fashion. The young Wasiu, as one of his children, picked interest in the tailoring business, which he combined with his elementary education. After the school hours, the young Wasiu was learning the tailoring from his father without knowing that he would become successful and famous through the art.
I learned the job from my father because each time I came back from school, I always look at him sewing on the machine, the local one. I fell in love. He appeared to me like a magic. One day, when he cut the fabrics into pieces and put it together and give it to me, I said, "Dash." I said, "Thank you, sir." Since then, I started looking at it. This job is beautiful.
The young Wasiu learned the job from his father in Ilaro, his hometown, and after graduation, he left Ilaro for Ibadan.
But when he got to a level that I need to move on with the job, so I left him to Ibadan. From Ibadan to Lagos, Lagos to London, come back to Ibadan, then Abeokuta.
Otumba Wasiu Jayeola Taiwo is a family man and an entrepreneur who raised the bar of tailoring from where his father hung it. And this was done with the establishment of Wessy Creations Limited. The proceeds from Wessy Creations were invested in different businesses, which includes Continental Suites Limited, a hotel of unparalleled standard, Chicken Continental, a fast-growing eatery and fast food concern. Not satisfied with the rate of unemployment in the country as a Nigerian, coupled with the fact that he is the current national president, Nigeria Union of Tailors (NUT), he thought of how he could contribute to the GDP. Hence, Wessy Tailoring and Vocational Institute was born.
We discover now that white-collar job is no longer in vogue. It's what you can do with your hand and your sense that brings money for you now. So, and if you look around us in this country, we have so many, idle hands, jobless graduates. 10 years after their graduates, they are still looking for job. And in a situation where you are turning out graduates on a yearly basis, and the companies are folding now, how do you meet? That's a serious crisis. So that's why in this industry, I just felt we have to do this.
Wessy Tailoring and Vocational Institute is the largest in Nigeria, and it has capacity to train 500 students at a go, and it can produce 2,000 t-shirts in a day. This is in compliance with the international standard of the production line assembled there. At the institute, there are 52 different machines ranging from elastic machines, overlock machines, single needle machines and others.
And that is the area where most of our people that are looking for a job can come in, receive training, and they'll be useful to themselves, useful to their family, and to the society. Like what you're having now, whereby a whole lot of people are saying that there is no job. If you come here, I can assure you that within a month or two, knowledge will be imparted to you. And from there, you'll be useful to yourself, like as I've said earlier on, and to the society.
To have reasonable market share in the international market, which it positions itself to patronize, it has various departments, starting from design to delivery departments.
The market is in US, so we start with America, then we go orders for Europe.
All products from Wessy Tailoring and Vocational Institute are for international markets, as it does not compromise on quality control in order to meet up with the standard. With the establishment of Wessy Tailoring and Vocational Institute, job opportunities are available for the teeming youth who want to have vocation in tailoring. Wessy Tailoring and Vocational Institute is located opposite Ogun State House of Assembly, Okemoson, Abeokuta.
I want to congratulate Wessy for this major step he has taken in his life. He can look back and glorify God. What God has done for him. Incidentally, I have never had my measurement taken by him. The reason is very simple. In Yoruba Tennis Club, you have tailors, and whenever you are not there, they sew clothes for you, they sew caps for you. Every weekend there will be 4, 5, 6 caps. You have to put label on those caps, otherwise you wear a wrong cap to the wrong occasion. And they've been sewing my Agbada ever since. But a very, very good younger brother of mine, Chicken Republic, Sumonu, has always bought me Agbada, complete Agbada dresses from Wessy, and I found this very well sewn with good lining, good color combination, and certainly, as the Bible says, here's thou a man diligent in his work, he shall stand before kings and not mean men. That is why today there are so many kings here, from industries, from governance, from various areas of human endeavor, to rejoice with Wessy. I want to say that this is just the beginning. By the grace of God, we will go places. You will make tailoring a thing of pride for those who suffer from inferiority complex. That's what we call tailor Ogojo. Ogojo is the smallest denomination of the currency. There are tailors who cannot even make ends meet. There are those who go for the job of a guard or they and only take tailoring as secondary, but not with Wessy. He's taking it seriously from the beginning and you can see the result of it. Congratulations. God bless you.
The joy I have in Taiwo is that since I met him, he has grown bigger and Kabisi. All those that are introduced into have good things to say about him, from General Sọ́ọ́lẹ̀ Baka to Ọba Òtúndẹ̀kọ́ to Bọ́lá Tinubu to Aliko Dangote, to Obasanjo himself, I introduced wessy to all of them. And he has grown not only to sew clothes for we in Nigeria, but for the whole country. If you say anything good on Dangote, it's wessy. On Tinubu, it's wessy. On Abdullah Abaka, it's wessy. On Oshoba, it's wessy. On Nabo Odudeko, it's wessy. Everybody that is who in Nigeria is wessy. But my pride is that they have good things to say about him. Since I met him, he has never taken a cover to show my blessing for me. And that is investment in me as a person. Senator Badara do after me, he is also wessy. I can go on and on describing. You see about Tudeko is very cultural. His own Dako is natural Dako. I am also cultural then. All those heavy designs we don't appreciate. I wear my gobi. He wears his own cap Ibadan way as only day of Idishi in Ibadan. Now crazy. So today I'm happy to see wessy grow to be what he is today. And the good name that God has given you, to which you have been defeated, is a very modest, unassuming young man. He is not doing it for the money. He is doing it for the interest in the job. If Abdullah Tinubu one day complain to me that he has had enough of dresses supplied by wessy, because when wessy sells dresses for you, he will come with at least half a dozen or a dozen in one go. So when you say anything good on Tinubu, it's wessy. And he hasn't been asking for money from Tinubu. It's been that we clearly call Tinubu and say, please, give something to this young man. The materials and the design is all by wessy. Wessy, congratulations.
If wessy wants to show off, we will say he's a master in design in the arts of tailoring, which is not only of the professor in design. Okay, I will do after. Ladies and gentlemen, to actually relate with what we are going to do, this is the center of the whole. This book is part 1. It's going to have the next edition because we are heading towards having wessy University of Tailoring. Because we are all privileged, all of us here are presenting through those of us who are lying here. Therefore, I am requesting with humility all of us to show and be part of the presentation of this book to the glory of God and for the instruction of both the Nigerian and international community in the arts and practice of tailoring. So be it. In the mighty name of Jesus Christ our Lord. Thank you very much. I am going to put some amount. I am actually a partner with wessy, not financial partner. Let me say that but I am wessy's partner, and I'm going to continue to encourage you. I'll put money down into wessy's account. And I encourage all of us to buy this book, at least for a sum of 20,000 naira. Thank you very much.
2014. Nigeria and Africa, I never imagined was in my destiny. I was born in India, and my mother was a tailor. Everything that I ever wore, from the age of birth, when we moved to England, and even as a teenager, was sewn by my mother. My mother passed away last year, and to her last days, she was still stitching clothes. So I love what the wessy, the training institutes and the work that you have done for the past 33 decades, and that we will continue to do in empowering the next generation of tailors. Just listening to the speakers is really to take a few minutes to share really Mr. Imalu's passion for supporting African entrepreneurs and Nigerian entrepreneurs. As I said, I am merely the facilitator of an extraordinary vision by another private sector leader, in the same way as this institution is being built by a private sector leader. You all recognize that it is the private sector leaders, it is the business leaders in Nigeria and Africa that will build economically drive the development of this country and this continent as well. So entrepreneurs are the lifeblood of this country, of Africa. And I just will take a few seconds to share what Mr. Ilumalu has committed over the next 10 years of his family wealth of investing $100 million in empowering 10,000 African entrepreneurs over the 54 countries. Over 50% of the entrepreneurs we select every year, and we select 1,000 across sectors, near 30 sectors, come from Nigeria and Nigeria's 37 states. For us, it is those startups and those SMEs, and we are already seeing the impact of that investment, which mainly consists of training, mentoring, and funding. And we've already just sampling the 400 entrepreneurs of the 3,000, they have already contributed $25 billion to the Nigerian and African economy. They've already created over 4,000 jobs in 2 months, 2 years. That's what it takes, an SME with an extraordinary vision, as we have in this institute, to provide the infrastructure that can enable talent, in this case, extraordinary designers and tailors, to thrive. So I also come from a continent that said, make it in India. But I just want you to cast your mind back to Mahatma Gandhi, when he said, when India was fighting for its independence, spin what you wear, and launch the spinning wheel in Ahmedabad, and with the back of that launch a $1 trillion industry, textile industry. What amazes me and shocks me to this day is the amount of capital in the textile industry that goes from Nigeria to Indian tailors. It's fantastic to see an institute like this bringing that capital back to Nigeria. The amount of money that your country...
Otumba Wasiu Taiwo, a renowned fashion designer and entrepreneur based in Abeokuta, Wessy, as he is popularly known, has contributed immensely in raising the standards of the Nigerian fashion industry. Born on April 23, 1968, to the family of late Chief Tiamiyu Taiwo, his father, a tailor who was popularly called "See Never Dry" in his hometown of Ilaro, exposed him to the trade at an early age of 12. Wasiu's strong interest in tailoring endeared him to embark on a study trip to the London Fashion Academy, where he was exposed to the professional art of fashion designing. Upon his return from London, Wasiu carved a niche for himself and over time became a phenomenon in the fashion and hospitality sector. His knack for quality attracted people of diverse backgrounds. Some of his many clients include the late Chief MKO Abiola, former heads of states, several governors, ministers, accomplished businessmen and women. His passion for human capital development as a strategy to reducing the rate of unemployment and social vices amongst Nigerian youths drove him into establishing the Wessy Group. The group is made up of Continental Suites, a luxury hotel based in the heart of Abeokuta, Chicken Continental and Continental Bread in Ilaro, Wessy Creations Nigeria Limited, and Wessy Tailoring and Vocational Institute in Abeokuta. With over 30 years in the fashion industry, coupled with product acceptability, good patronage and a desire to redefine tailoring as a profession, the institute operates as a tailoring hub and a vocational institute for skill acquisition. WASIU is a recipient of numerous awards. Of note is the Thomas Sankara Leadership Award for Integrity and Transparency for his business integrity. WASIU was named Distinguished West African Personality of the Year 2017. Otumba Wasiu Taiwo is currently the president of the Nigerian Union of Tailors, and he is happily married with children.
Yeah, but come to think of it, why tailoring? You know, I mean, there are other things you could have thought of after higher education. Why did you choose to become a tailor?
Yes, because, you know, for me to button up somebody else, like I said, it looks like a magic to me. And I believe it's one of those three things that is important in someone's life. That is food, shelter, and clothing. So I want to be part of those people that want to button up Nigerian president or American president. So it's a pride.
Well, you're already doing that from what I gather. You sew the clothes that Obasanjo wears.
That's right.
It's also the same you who makes clothes for a former governor of Ogun State here.
Yes.
Oshoba,
yes.
Right. Do you also make foreign shirts and trousers?
Yes. In fact, that's why I'm into it now. Because by the time we went for international exhibition, most especially the one we had Las Vegas, it really opened my eyes to the industry. So I've not started at all. That's when I said, okay, I have to go back.
What did you see?
Yeah, I saw we can compete at that level. We are just there as spectators, and we're just roaming around. While looking at small Chinese boy that is making a lot of waves, exchanging cards, pleasing others, and we are just sitting down doing nothing. I said, no, I will not take this. I will have to go back home and start seeing what I can do for me to be able to compete at this level.
This could have been the first garment industry in Nigeria.
Yes, it's about the only one right now. Because
what sort of garments?
Yes, we want to meet up the international standard. Like pint, shirt. I'm a suit maker. I was trained to be a suit. I'm a professional. Making suit, jacket and all, pint, shirts.
There once used to be an Idowu tailor.
Yes,
he was known, in those days.
Yes.
How are you transferring your knowledge and skills in tailoring to younger people? Because I mean, a garment industry like yours will require a lot of hands. How many people, for instance, are in your
presently
employment?
Right now, we're having a capacity for 500 for training. Capacity for 500 because we discovered recently that our people doesn't have the capacity to even pay for their training.
They cannot afford.
They can't afford it. Yes. That's why we're.
How long is this training that you give to?
6 months training.
6 months.
6 months training, and some influential people too to give us support in terms of supporting our training for the student and all the rest. It's a legacy that worth taking.
If your industry or institute, as it is right now, is working at full operation, how many people will be here?
We have, for our production, we have 350 on board. 350 will be on board.
That is huge.
Yes. But by the time we have that on board, we must be turning out the containers on a weekly basis.
And where will they be directed?
To the US market. US is big for the market we're talking about.
Is China not big enough as well?
China, they have taken their destiny in their hand. If you are producing things like this to China, you cannot.
But the interesting thing is that most of these things you use to produce these garments are all imported.
That's
are they not?
Yes.
So where do you make your profits?
Presently, what we are doing in any garment industry, you don't make profit 1-2 years, except you want to just pack, and forget about and pack it up. If you really want to do it, 1-2 years, it's a preparation stage where you have a foundation, you put a structure, in place. Then when you are known and the market is coming after the other, that's where you make profit.
You think you're not
Market
known now?
No. We have not started that facing the international market, which is my target.
Okay.
Local market, I'm not really keen, but we have to do it now to stabilize the production, part of it. So, except we start going that level, we cannot, because the advantage is just too much. One, you will generate too massive employment. Secondly, you will generate, foreign exchange too for your country. Instead of relying on crude oil alone, you'll be generating. So I'm appealing to government once again. I said it is government will take the lead because of the enabling environment we find ourselves, which you have to do everything yourself. If governments fail to come in to support, as the Chinese and the Indians are doing, it's difficult for us to compete with those people. And those are the people ahead of us.
You're allowed to take only 5 items for your survival in this number of days that you'll be cast away. So what are these items?
I think first thing I have to go with my Bible.
Your Bible?
Because I pray a lot.
Why? Oh, your Bible?
My Bible.
Not a Quran?
Yeah, no.
I thought you were a Muslim.
Yeah, I'm no longer a Muslim. I'm now a Christian. I'm
Really?
born again. Yes.
Why did you change?
So many things.
Okay.
So many things. Personal. The most important thing is
you don't want to marry more than one wife. Is that
one of those things anyway?
Okay, so
yes.
Let's go. You go with the Bible, yes.
Because I want to communicate with God.
Okay.
Next, I go with food.
Okay.
I go with water.
Okay.
Yes, and I go with my phone for communication in case if there's any challenge. What else? I think I have to go with my clothes now. I must wear dress too.
Do you like music? Do you listen to music a lot?
I'm listening to music, but I'm not a music person.
Okay.
I'm not a music person.
So if you're forced to listen to music, what would it be?
I'll go with Ebenezer Obey.
You like him?
I like Ebenezer Obey so much.
Why?
Most of his song.
In those days,
it's a message.
It's either Ebenezer Obey or Sunny Ade.
Yes.
So you prefer the Ebenezer Obey line
yes.
because of the musical message.
But that's right.
That's interesting.
Most of the time when you listen to his
when
music,
do you have time
yes.
for your family? You're married, you said.
Yes.
You have only one wife.
That's right.
How many children?
I have 4 children.
Only 4.
Yes.
So you have not stopped, that production line.
I'm over 60. I don't think I don't think my children will not even allow me.
Is there any one of your children who's grown up and is looking at what you're doing? I mean, you followed in your father's footsteps,
Yes.
didn't you?
Each time we have a discussion with them, initially they said, no, I want to be doctor, I want to be this, I want to be that. And I always tell them that I have a doctor uncle in America. So first time we discussing that with him, Wessy, don't you believe this guy wants to disgrace me? I say, who? He said, my last born. I said, what happened? He said, he wants to do fashion designing. I say, So that's what you mean by he wants to disgrace you? So you have doctors, you have engineers, so you want all of them to be the same? No. That fashion designer might be the best among them. That will even take your name to where you don't even know. I said, okay, I agree with you. So that's why I allowed the guy. I encourage the guy to
Great. So what about your wife? What does she do? And how does she manage to, calm you down when you have all this pressure?
My wife is a pastor.
Oh, really?
So she's prays for me and she's managing the hotel while I'm busy running around for the institute.
How long have you been married?
About 30 years.
30 years?
Yeah, about 30.
So you must have a son or daughter who is in the 20s or what?
Yes, I have one in his 30s. Yes, that's senior boy. He's in UK now.
If you were made to say one of the best things you like about your wife, what would it be?
She's hardworking and she's prayerful. And those 2 things are important in life.
That guarantees you dinner tonight, doesn't it?
I think so.
You must be smiling watching this now.
So. I think so. Finally, sir, I just have a message. Because developing capacity of our youth in Nigeria will give us rest. And idle hands is
It's a devil's workshop, yep.
You have most of our youth now into so many atrocities. It's because they have nothing to do, because either they work or not, they must eat. They have to put body and soul together, either we like it or not. So that's why we are asking government to take the lead in supporting them, in developing their capacity, because it's the only way.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure, sir.
Otumba Wasiu Taiwo,
Yes, thank you.
right? And better known as Wessy.